The United Nations says roughly 1.9 million people in Gaza are homeless amid ongoing bombardments by Israeli forces after the collapse of a fragile 2-month ceasefire in March. With more on the humanitarian situation in Gaza is Joe English from UNICEF. Thanks for being here, Joe.
Good to be with you, Amandalina.
So paint a picture for us. What's happening in Gaza right now?
Yeah, the situation is absolutely catastrophic for children and families. We're now at 5 weeks when no humanitarian aid has been allowed in. We're talking about, the basic essentials of life. We're talking about safe drinking water. We're talking about food. We're talking about shelter. We're talking about medical supplies. And all of this is there. It's at the border. It's waiting to get in. UNICEF has thousands of pallets of humanitarian aid waiting to get in, and most of this is life-saving, but it cannot save children's lives if it cannot reach them. So we have to be able to get in and reach the children and families who are in need.
So why is this aid not getting in?
Because there's a blockade. The Israeli authorities are simply not allowing aid in, and when we talk about these kind of things, it can often feel abstract, but what we're talking about here is in the last 2.5 weeks, 21 nutrition centers that provide life-saving support to children who are malnourished, who have not had enough food to eat, have had to close. 21 in the last 2.5 weeks. And now that's 350 children, the equivalent of almost 5 school buses of children who are malnourished, not getting enough food. And you can only imagine the situation for their parents, absolutely beside themselves with worry and concern about how they're going to keep their children alive. So we have to be able to get in. During the ceasefire, we were able to get in and provide children, families, with nutrition supplies, with medical supplies, with safe drinking water. We were repairing wells and water sources. There has to be an end to the fighting. Humanitarian organizations have to be allowed to do the work that we do all around the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's my next question. How difficult is it for the relief workers to operate in this situation?
It's incredibly difficult. I mean, we've seen more than 400 aid workers killed, and organizations like UNICEF, we work in the most dangerous places in the world. We work in active conflicts and after humanitarian crises and disasters, earthquakes, but we have to be able to do our work safely. And there are laws in place that require parties to conflicts to ensure that humanitarians are protected, that civilians are protected. We're not asking for any new laws. We're just asking for international humanitarian law to be respected and for the parties to the conflict to allow us to do our job.
How can people watching help or make a difference? Is there anything that can be done?
There is, of course. Our work is supported by voluntary donations from people all around the world, and that includes, the Canadian public and the Canadian government have long been great supporters of UNICEF. UNICEF.ca is where you can go and donate. And I promise everyone watching that we will do everything that we can to make sure that every dollar we receive is going to children who need it, and we will not stop until we reach them. But every morning we're waking up seeing reports of more children killed and injured. So the first thing has to be an end to the fighting.
And I can imagine if that blockade continues, those numbers will go up. Joe, we appreciate your time today.
Thanks so much.
That's Joe English from UNICEF.